I'd like to welcome everybody to the Wednesday workshop of the North Carolina Retired School Personnel. This has been going on now for a couple of years, where we try to take a Wednesday out of each month and present a topic of interest to our retirees, from health issues to financial issues to uh, physical well-being, mental well-being. Just try to keep you really all well all the way around, so that you can really enjoy that retirement that you earned by working in the classrooms across the state of North Carolina. We're delighted today to have our chairperson from the Legislative Committee, Colleen Lanier, who was one of my former colleagues many, many years ago when I first started teaching. So it's always a delight to touch base back with her. And she and Linda Gunter serve as our legislative lobbyist for free. And they do a wonderful job of staying on task about what is happening over in the General Assembly and trying to help us stay focused so that we can be their grassroots lobbyists back home to get the things we want out of the General Assembly. I've asked Colleen to review the legislative agenda, but she certainly will be welcome to answer some of your questions. And I hope she'll give you some insight on what you can do back home to help them in the General Assembly, so that when we look at the budget when it's been adopted, we can really go woohoo this year, maybe. So Colleen, without further ado, I need to mention Carol, because Carol's our technical support over there. I always like to appreciate our staff people.
Yes.
Carol McLam is our staff person who helps to facilitate our sessions. So you may have registered with Carol, and she's letting people into the session today. So we always want to be sure to appreciate our staff as well. So thank you, Carol. And now, Colleen, it's all yours.
Thanks. I appreciate that, Levita. And thanks for letting me know what I was supposed to talk about. Maybe I should start over.
No, it's yours to talk about. Anything you want to talk about.
I'm sorry, y'all have to get used. I was a middle school teacher, so I'm gonna throw in those things, but I knew she told me what to cover, and I think I've got that planned. So that's great. And also we don't mind veering off topic as long as it's related to this. If somebody has something, another rabbit hole you want us to go down, let us know. We can do that. I'm going to share my screen, and that gives Carol the advantage of being able to read the chat. So if you have a question to put in the chat, put that in, and she can just let me know about that kind of thing. And let's go. Okay, can everybody see it okay?
Yep.
Okay. All right, great. So we'll get started. Feel free to ask questions as we go along. I will tell you too that I prepared this for you. So if you see something that doesn't make sense, let me know. You know how when we do some stuff, we type it up, we see it the way our mind sees it. So if you see something I need to correct, my apologies for that. I glanced back over it this morning, and I saw, instead of high needs school, I had high need schools. So I didn't want y'all to worry that this kind of school you didn't know about. Okay. So first, I do want to go over our legislative agenda. And I do want to thank all of you. As Levita said, this is a responsibility of all of us, taking care of what happens that affects us. So the legislative agenda was passed. It is a 2-year agenda. We might make a few changes along the way, but basically this is what we'll work on. You folks had input into this through your region legislative chairs, and you shared information, gave us input, and from that we brought it back. Legislative committee refreshed it. Then we went to the executive board. We kind of updated a few things, and then from there it was adopted in January. This was Linda's on, so she can just drop in whenever she wants to. She and I are kind of used to bouncing off each other. But Linda's suggestion was that we divide our agenda into specific areas. So the first one was teachers and state employees retirement pension. We asked for a 2% COLA for educators and state retirees, because some of our employees who were retired educators are still considered under the umbrella of state retirees. Full funding for teachers and state employees retirement system, so that as we look at what's happening with less people paying in, that we are encouraging and prompting the legislature to make sure we have funding to keep it as it is to keep it as it is, to keep it safe for all of us. Continuing our predictable and effective defined benefit plan. There are some legislators who would like to change our plan to a 401k plan. Our current plan is a 401a plan. That means it's a guaranteed retirement benefit for the rest of your life, and you base it on what we paid in, interest earned, and things like that, investments. That is predictable and effective, is one of the two best plans in the country, so we want to keep it that way. The reason some legislators want to change this is because they do see, let's talk about like police officers and highway patrol are in this, and a lot of them do not stay their full retirement age. And so this was an urging from the Highway Patrols Association to try to get more people recruited into their area, but we don't want a 401k. 401k is good for you, but it's not good for our plan, because just right now, what's happening with the stock market, that would affect our retirement plan. Revising our legislation so members who are retired may return to work as state employees and earn more than their earnings cap or the minimum wage, whichever is greater. So right now, when we talk to people, we say, how about changing it to 75%? And I will share later a bill that's in right now that will do that for a very small group of people, but it's not for everybody. We think that this one is something we will continue to push because it would help our schools who are hurting for needing to fill positions. It'll help our retirees who want to make more money and who have the capacity to go ahead back to work longer and do what they can back in school and education. Revising legislation so teachers and state employees retirement system members don't have to pay income tax on their state pensions. This was also in our last agenda. We'll continue to push for this. It's not one of our top priority, but it's one when we have the opportunity, we bring it up and remind them, you've given it to military. How about giving it to us? And some of you on this call are like me. We are Bailey vested, so we don't pay North Carolina income tax on our retirement plan. We'd like that for everybody.
Colleen, we have a comment.
Yes,
the COLA,
okay.
COLA is a permanent COLA, right?
Yes.
Someone said it's recurring, right? So
Recurring,
it would be
recurring, yeah. Recurring COLA is like a it's a misnomer. COLA does continue. Okay, so that, thank you. It's different from a supplement, which would be one time. Okay, all right. So for some reason it is not. Okay, now it's, what did it do? Okay, so now it's going. All right, the state health plan. For this category, we are encouraging reinstatement of state health plan for state retirees based on the policy that was in effect prior to January 1st, 2021, which gave full health insurance to anyone who was hired after 2000. Let's see, after 2000, I didn't put that in there. Is it after October 1st, 2006, and have 20 years of service? Or after that time, if they have 10 years of service, they get half of their insurance. Anyone hired after January 1st does not get health insurance when they retire. You know, I found an interesting thing when we went to the NCAE convention this year. Those of you who were at the NCAE convention, they broke us into small groups and we looked at the legislative agenda for NCAE. Restoring our health care for retirees was one of the items on there, but I could not get my group to see why this was important, because they saw retirees and they're after the immediate low-hanging fruit. They didn't think about when they retire. They're just thinking about today. So that really didn't get any say or any push in my group because it wasn't considered a priority. They don't know how much this will help them later when they retire, but we will continue to pursue this. Supporting our fiscal strength of the state health plan by providing full funding for our state health plan. We'll talk a little bit more about that, what we're doing with the legislature and especially with our state health treasurer and director of the state health plan. Monitoring a health plan to ensure that our health plans are not used by other state health plans participants. This is to keep them from broadening, letting other groups branch out on their own, like UNC Health and ECU Health that did that a few years ago. So the next category is public school educators, community, and family issues. We want to continue having them strengthen broadband internet service and access across the state. It's interesting because when Linda and I went in one of the days in January and talked with legislators, I think Linda was with me that day, or it might have been Nina who's with me that day. But one of the legislators said, I thought we already got that. And we said, well, we did get it in a minimal way, but it did not go to everybody. There's still lots of places who don't have internet. So we're still putting that on our agenda. Advocating for better pay and benefits for educators in order to recruit and retain highly qualified public school employees. Someone in 1A asked us to be sure to put something in there that supported active employees, which I think a lot of these support our active employees, but they wanted this one in there. So we said this would do something to push for better pay for people who are still working and better benefits for them, which also includes our health care. Any questions about the legislative agenda? And then I'm going to talk about that's for North Carolina. And then we also, were there questions, Carol? Everybody okay? All right. Our NEAR goals right now on our agenda, strengthening Social Security Trust Fund. We continue to push with our members of Congress, asking them to go ahead and fund this now and not wait until 2034 or 2035 when they're having to push something to keep it going. We need to have them start working for ways to fund it now. Something that's stable. Maintaining our
Colleen, there was a comment about the federal COLA for Social Security was 2.5%.
Yes, for federal, that's correct. Yeah, I don't have that in here because this is just our North Carolina COLA. Yes, but people who have Social Security did get a COLA this year. And so their Social Security folks, they're sharp enough as long as they're not laid off or had to resign, but they know how to give us a COLA. We hope our folks will learn from that. Medicare benefits, we want to keep them because y'all might remember people were just so happy that Medicare and Medicaid passed. I'm thinking about Medicaid too, but we want to keep all the benefits under Medicare and Medicaid that will help our state retirees and our children as far as Medicaid goes. Support for caregivers through training, access, and financial support. We know that more and more of our members need to have a caregiver, and more of them also serve as caregivers. So we want to be sure there's access for them to have the training they need for this and financial support to give them tax breaks when needed. So there are things that we are continuing to work on. This was established, you might recall, in January before things started changing in the federal government. But right now, we will add issues as they come along, such as dismantling the Department of Education. When those issues come up, we let you know so that you can contact your members of Congress. Okay, now talk about some bills that are, let me go back one. Okay. That are affecting state retirees. This one I want to start with because you've been hearing from us recently about this. House Bill 92. North Carolina Digital Assets Investments Act. This would give the treasurer the right to invest up to 10% of our state pension. Sorry, it's going. In digital currency, such as cryptocurrencies and virtual currencies. Money earned through this would go into the general fund and the NC Highway Fund. So you see what they're doing? They would take part of our pension, which is secure, and invest it to try to make money, but then it wouldn't go back into us solely. It would go into the general fund, which we're part of, and the North Carolina Highway Fund. So that's not good for us. Linda likes me to put color in here, so I put this in red. Sponsors' reasoning, they say it's a quick way for them to increase our assets, and that's what they're looking at. Our state treasurer, the new treasurer, wants to have something that can increase it quickly. We want something that's secure. Our concerns are This is a high risk investment and it might be detrimental to us to do this. We want to keep ours. It's not that we're opposed to investing in things. We know we have to be a little bit more aggressive, but we want to do something that's secure. Virtual funds are also more susceptible to fraud because hackers can gain access to that just in a matter of a minute or two. You saw that we shared that with you recently. Hopefully you got the article that we shared with folks about the CNN stuff about how North Korea, in just a few minutes while money was being transferred over, they got millions of dollars, and we don't, billions of dollars. So we don't want that to happen to us.
Colleen, you're going to talk about the status of that bill right now?
Talking about what we're doing about right now. Yes. So what happened? First of all, what are we doing? First of all, our legislative committee met and we talked about it. We took a position and then we shared it with the executive board, who also took a position to say, we are in opposition to this. This gives Linda and me and those lobbyists who go with us to Raleigh to say, we're all opposed to this. So we have an official position on this. At the convention, our delegates passed a new business item that includes a request for our members to contact their state legislators. So from that, last week, we sent out an email to all of you through our region legislative chairs and asked you to call or email your legislators and to express your concerns. We also attached to that our letter that we crafted and passed out to the legislators last week when we went to Raleigh. Linda and I went, and Ramona Alston went with us too and helped us pass those out. And we passed out that CNN article. We are so glad that we did that. We mainly spoke with legislative assistants that day because there was a special session going on, and the treasurer was talking about cryptocurrency in a meeting room. Linda sat in on that for a few minutes, but we were going door to door. That gave us a chance to talk to them and say, you need to read this and you need to understand it. And they shared some insight from their perspective that many of the legislators hear this, but they don't know what cryptocurrency is. They don't know what Bitcoin is. They just heard, okay, this is a way to get money fast. So they said, okay, if the treasurer likes it, maybe we should go for it. Also, some of those assistants said, I'm going to read this article carefully because I want to be able to answer questions when people call me. So we're glad that we passed that out. And I put in here, it is not too late. If you do not yet contact your legislators, be sure to call them or email them, or they'll be coming home in about a week and a half, and they'll be here for a week. So maybe you can set up a time for a couple of you to go and visit them in person somewhere. Then last week, we delivered that letter to the General Assembly, and we also included that report. Usually we do a one-pager, but this time, thanks to Carol and Tara, we stapled everything together so it was easy for us to pass out, and we took it to all the offices that day. And we're going to lobby the progress and share our letter with other state leaders, such as the treasurer and the governor, and we'll be sharing that with them soon. Right now, it is still in the House, because when we went to some of the senators and talked with them last week, they said, well, have we seen it? Has it come to us? And we said, no, but if it does, we want you to be aware of it and know what our position is. So they say they're ready for it when that happens. We just kind of have to keep an eye on it. And that's why sometimes it is last minute for us to send out a message and say, contact the folks right away. But again, this is one that's not too late. It's still in committee. I believe it's in Commerce right now. So we'll see what happens as that goes along.
Colleen, there is a comment from Becky.
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
would you like to voice your comment about that?
What I'm seeing is they tell us that our funds, our investments can't fund a COLA, but we can now use our investments to fund the general budget. That just sort of goes against all common sense.
Yes, it does. And you're right. And I put that on the previous slide. The money would not come back to us. If we made big bucks like they think we might, if they're willing to risk it, we made big bucks. It's not all going to come back to our retirement pension. It'll come back to the whole general fund, which is where they can pull from, as Becky knows, to go to vouchers or anywhere they want it to go to.
Well, and what's bad is they're telling us they can't fund a COLA, but they want to use what we could use to fund our COLA to give
Yes.
somebody else.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is terrible. You're right. Yes. Thank you. And you will get back responses. So if you get a response, I may have this on a slide later. If you get a response that's helpful to me or to Linda, share that with us or send it to your region legislative chair. Sometimes it's a pat thing like, okay, understand, or sometimes it's, well, I think here's what we need to do. So just listen to them, give a response like, thank you for letting me know, or something like that, and let us know if it needs to be passed on. And I don't mind looking at your questions to them before you send it, if you want to send it to me to look over. Most of you know what to say. One thing I liked about the letter, Linda tweaked it and added in the letter about, would you want your money going into something for your grandmother? I thought that was good. And Linda's hand is raised. Linda? Is Linda's hand raised?
She's
You're
Linda, you're
muted.
muted.
Sorry, I was
You're muted.
I was muted. I'm sorry. What I wanted to find out was it Representative Ross from Alamance County who told you, Becky, about this whole thing about we need to use our investments and support the general fund? Who told you that? Which legislator?
Nobody told me that. That was what was on Colleen's slide.
Yeah, it's in the bill. It's written in the bill.
But when we went to Ross's office, his legislative assistant said that they were working on that bill and it was getting better, but you know, you can't really trust things.
Yeah.
But there's also another bill that's out there too.
Yes. Yeah, you want to mention that? The 5%?
Yeah, they got the 5% and then the investment committee. And so they decreased the amount for cryptocurrency from 10 to 5. But people seem to be concerned about this investment committee that they're setting up. And from what I heard, when the bill was in committee, I guess maybe last week or week before, they had problems getting it out. So they had to call in what they call the floaters. So they have this rule that if the Republicans can't get their bill passed, then they bring in these people that serve on multiple committees, and they will show up there, and then they will make sure they do have a majority to get the bill passed. And so that led me to believe that there were definitely problems with that bill, and that's what we're going to have to do: ask some more questions to people. But basically, we were holding out and supporting that bill until we find out more information.
That's right. Linda's right. Yeah, the floaters, they have the right and the power to serve on any committee. So they just get a text message saying, you need to come into this committee. They pop up, they vote, and then they've got more votes. So that's not good for us. We do have some folks who are on the pensions committee who are leaders in that, who are monitoring this. Diane Wheatley is one of our friends who works with us on things like this. We have good conversations with her. We have a couple of other folks we can work with. And so we know we've got them looking at it too. So that helps us. Okay, so now here's a bill that people keep, when I talk with people doing retirement workshops and different things, folks say, but isn't there a bill to let people come back? Well, yeah, there is a bill to let a few people come back, but there are some stipulations, and that is House Bill 106. House Bill 106 would let members of the Teachers and State Employees Retirement System, sorry, I don't have the apostrophes there, Linda, I'll put them later, who retired with full retirement to return to work as classroom teachers while still serving their receiving their regular retirement check. Full retirement, you may recall, it might be retired a while before since some of you retired. That would be with 30 years, or if you're 60 and have 25 years, or if you're 65 and retired with 5 years. Those are the only categories. If you did early retirement, as I know some people on this call did, you would not be able to participate in this if you wanted to. So they must work full-time, 30 hours a week for at least 9 months. They put this little caveat in there because they didn't want somebody to come work a couple of months and say, oh, I can't take it anymore. I still want my full amount of money. That you've got to work the full 9 months to be able to do this in a calendar year. Now, calendar year, not a school membership year. And they must work in a high need school as I talk with people in retirement, I say many of our retirees are not able to come back and do that because we know there's more stress. You have to spend more time getting ready and preparing things and working with folks in high need schools. Our kids just need more in those schools. And we need educators everywhere, not just high need schools. And the state treasurer, part of the bill says he has to check with the IRS to make sure that teasers is not jeopardized by this provision. So it's up to him to do that and carry that out responsibility.
But they've already got that on the original bill.
Yes, that is part of the bill. All of this is House Bill 106. All of these little bullets here are in that bill.
But what I'm saying is the state treasurer has already obtained a letter from the
Oh,
IRS.
he's already gotten the letter. Sorry.
That's what I was
Okay.
trying to tell you, that Sam, who
Mhm.
is the lobbyist of the state treasurer, he had already gotten that. And so he alerted us in January that they were supporting it because of the problems with the IRS.
Right. Yeah.
So they might change the bill so IRS would agree.
Right. Because he did tell us there were issues with it. Okay. So now the COLA. Okay. There is a COLA bill in there and it is in the House. It is to provide for a 3% COLA for state and local government retirees who retired before July 1st, 2024. And if you retired after that, but before this summer, July 1st, 2025, it would be prorated. You would get the 3% COLA, but it's got to pass, y'all. Don't come away saying we're getting a COLA. This is a bill. I want to tell you a little bit about where this came about. Frances Jackson, Representative Frances Jackson, is still an active teacher. And she actually, like right now, she's taking a little break to work on stuff with the legislature and all and volunteering in her school, but she's still not retired. She did a bill, couldn't get anybody to help her. So she said, I'm doing my own. Linda and I were at the legislative building in January, and we went to see Wheatley and a few other folks. Wheatley's in support of a COLA. So when we went to see Frances Jackson, she said, well, I can't get anybody to help go with me. And Linda said, why don't you talk to Diane Wheatley? I think she might be on your side to help you with that. And we also told her, you need to get some folks who will join you so it's not just you. It makes it stronger when you support the bill. So there are lots of sponsors for this bill. If you want to look it up, you can see. But these are the major sponsors: Logan, Wheatley, Butler, and Majid. So if one of those is your legislator or their area, you might thank them for supporting this COLA and ask them to continue to push for this. There is money in the general fund to give us a 3% COLA. So that is something that they are pushing. It is something part of their bill that says there is money there if they could do this. So, they've got that. Now it's still got to go through the Senate. And, we talk with legislators and they say it's probably not going to get past the Senate. It's not going to get past the Bergernomics, you know how they are. But anyway, right now we've got a bill in there that we can push for. Linda and I will be going to Raleigh next Tuesday. That is probably what we'll be focusing on that day, if not a couple of other things, but she and I will be talking later about doing that. And then we'll get word to y'all when it's time to put out emails and questions about it to your legislators, unless you want to go in now and say, I know there's a bill. I hope you'll watch for that and support it. Okay, there's one more bill. There might be a couple of others, but there's one bill called Senate Bill 50. So last week at our, I guess 2 weeks ago now, we had the Representative Assembly, the convention, the NCRSP convention. They voted to encourage all retired school personnel members to contact members of the General Assembly to ask that they repeal actions taken to let individuals carry a concealed weapon without a permit. That is Senate Bill 50, Freedom to Carry. It would let a carry a concealed weapon handgun without a concealed permit, except as otherwise prohibited by law. So that is scary to us. We worry that it'd be harmful to all citizens, and we worry about what might happen to our children and our grandchildren. So Senate Bill 50 is one you want to watch out for, and we'll probably be sending out information to our members later about that. Okay, now the state health plan. our executive administrator, the new executive administrator of the state health plan is Tom Friedman. He came to our representative assembly by Zoom while he was on vacation. He joined us for a brief time and talked with us. At that time, he shared some thoughts about what was happening and assured us, he assured us that they were making decisions that would support us as retirees and future retirees. Basically, he said, our plan is going away, but we've got to do something to make sure it's adequately funded. And we agree with his perception of that. He said that premiums are going to have to be increased for active employees and dependents. We don't know the amount yet. It's not going to be a major amount for active employees, but there will be increase in premiums. It will not be increased for state retirees. This is from Tom Friedman. Linda and I will meet with him regularly by Zoom. And he's one of those people who does 2 or 3 things at a time. He's just on top of everything. So we look forward to talking with him. And make sure you write this down. On May the 6th, he's going to do a Zoom with our NCRSP members, and he will share the latest news because he told us by the first week in May, he would have more information to share with us. It'll be May 6th from 10:30 to 11:15. We'll get information. We'll probably have Carol do a constant contact on that, but put that on your calendar now. It's your chance to hear from him. Some of you joined us in the fall when we met with some of the candidates who are running for state offices on Zoom, and people really enjoyed that. And it'll kind of be what we do this time with Tom Friedman. He's also shared with Linda and me that he will be glad to address particular issues that you have, but he asks that you come through Linda and me. So if you have a particular issue or question you want to check on with our state health plan, you let us know and we'll pass that on to him or to the appropriate folks if we need to do that. That keeps him from being bombarded because he is, like I said, he's spinning plates all the time in a good way. Okay. Fletcher White has raised her hand.
Yes, is this date 2025 or 2026?
Thank you for noticing that. I told you to proofread for me. It will be this May. Thank you. The 2026. Thank you. You know, and we type these things and our mind just says it's right. So it's on my calendar for next month. I hope it's on yours. Thank you, dear. I'll correct that.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for being aware of that. Okay. Now we have LCTs and you have your wonderful legislative committee. Our legislative committee meets regularly when there are issues that need to be discussed. We want you to understand and be assured that your regional legislative chairs and your legislative contact team members are going to stay in touch with our legislators. Sometimes it's last minute, but they're really good about getting word out as soon as they need to do that. If you're not yet an LCT, all you have to do is be willing to contact your legislator on a regular basis by phone or by email or setting up a visit if you want to. We give you a sample emails to go by and we give you talking points if they're needed. If you want to do that, you can contact Linda or me or your regional legislative chair. But some of you on this call, many of you are already LCTs, and we thank you for that. It's very helpful because they hear from Linda and me, but they need to hear from you because you are the person who's back at home. So that's important. Questions about LCTs or legislative chairs?
Colleen, if I may jump in and make a comment there, since I serve
Yes.
as an LCT,
Yes.
I would encourage people to participate in this. It doesn't have to be a big, long letter. I email my legislator on a regular basis, and I might write 3 sentences. I oppose this, I support this, and because he's gotten used to my name, I usually
Yes.
get a response right back pretty quick, and I'd like to share those with Colleen and my legislative chair for the district. And
Yes.
so it doesn't have to be a real cumbersome process at all.
No, you're right. And you don't have to worry about what to say. We kind of give you some guidance and we'll even proofread it before if you want to send something in. It's very helpful. And we did, the day we were going last week, I know Jackie in Region 7B was working on setting up she's one of reading legislative chairs. She was working on setting up a meeting with some of her legislators when they come home for that spring break. So I walked in one office and they said, I just hung up from talking to Jackie. And they said, I know why you're here. So that was really good. I went in another office. They said the same thing. Well, we're setting up something with Jackie to come and meet. So they do know your names if you keep a regular basis. And don't worry, I've told people, some of you on this call, you'll email me and say, well, I send my messages, but I never hear back from them. Well, that's okay. You keep sending it because that way they can't say that we didn't send something out to them. So thank you, Levita, for sharing that. That's a good point. And I'll bet I don't know if I can see everybody, but Carol, you can probably see, but if you are in LCT already, raise your hand. Does that look like quite a lot of them, Carol? A few? Okay. Well, join us if you can. If not. All right. So now NEA activities. I want you to know that you do have representation. There is an NEAR. I think they're still raising their hands for being LCTs. Thank you. Okay. Our NEAR Legislative Committee, I serve on that committee and we meet quarterly by Zoom. When we do that, we talk about what the issues are. Some of you or all of you who were at the convention recently heard Stephanie Salvador, who's our lobbyist for NEA, retired. And she gave a great presentation. And the next day we had our quarterly meeting. It was the second day of our meeting. And as our meeting ended like 2:50, I think, our convention, and at 3:00 I went on the Zoom to be on our NER Legislative Committee. And I actually got that set up, and I got it so that you couldn't hear me, but I got my car and I was driving home with my computer on so they could see me driving. So at the end of the meeting, they said, we enjoyed watching you drive. But that way I got to vote, as we went along. I could do thumbs up or thumbs down. But we talk about the current issues that are affecting us nationwide. In that case, we might send something to you from time to time from your regional legislative chairs and asking you to contact members of Congress. Right now, we're dealing with Social Security funding. We're dealing with the status of the Department of Public Education. And just last week, some of you did the Hands Off rally. That was NEAR and NEA were a part of those rallies and organizing you to do that. So if you didn't go to one of those events, you missed on something. It was a very positive experience. I'm glad I met. We met, I'd say we had maybe 900. They said we didn't have 1,000. So I think we had 900 here in Forsyth County on our day. And I heard there were thousands in Raleigh. So I'm glad that folks did participate in that. So what we ask of you is ask you to stay informed. If we send out information, open it and read it. Contact your members of the General Assembly about things that are affecting us as retirees and affecting our children. Invite other people to join NCRSP. Yes, our numbers matter. One of the main reasons I'm a member of NCRSP is because it keeps me aware of what's happening on legislative issues, and I know I've got impact on what's happening on my pension plan and my health insurance, and all of us can do that by being members. So recruit other people to join us. Stay positive. Don't forget what we do is important not only for fellow retirees, but for our whole state, and we've got to stay positive. These are times when crazy things are happening. I know this is being recorded, but there are crazy things happening. So we've got to be positive and move forward in what we're doing and not give up. It's so important. And we can't lecture our legislators. One person, his name was McGinnis, when we went to meet with him and pass out something to him, he said, one of your group was not very nice to me, and they attacked me at a public meeting. So he's not forgotten that. And I'm sure they were upset and expressing their concern, but he's not forgotten it. And his wife said, don't ever go back to that group again. So be sure you're positive and give that positive vibe because you're representing all of us. Contact me if you've got questions or if you've got an interesting response you want to share with us, because we keep those and we can use those when we go back to the legislature to talk with some of those folks. So are there questions? I've got my contact information on the next screen, and I can go off shared screen after I put this up. If you need to contact me, here's my cell phone number. And I have 2 email addresses. Either one works. So feel free to email if you need to. And let me know what's going on with you. Let me know what your issues are. Let me know if you want to talk to me about recruiting some people. I don't mind talking to those folks and trying to recruit them to join NCRSP. Okay, so other issues, concerns, comments?
I'd like to say Colleen is one of our top recruiters for NCRSP. Thank you, Colleen, for all you do for us.
Yes, ma'am. It's important. And when you talk to people, it's pretty easy. They go, "Oh, I don't know. You know, I exercise with this person 3 times a week and she's not a member." And, you know, I'll tell her stuff is going on. And a retired member came up and after us, Chris Andrews, and she said, "Colleen, thank you for what y'all doing about Bitcoin." And my friend was looking at me like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "See, I keep telling you, you need to be a member. You got to know about this stuff that's going on." So I'm trying to recruit her continuously. I don't see any other questions. You, Carol, any comments?
I don't see a raised hand.
Linda, anything else you want to add? That was fast, I know, but you know, I have to do things fast.
Okay, this is Gretchen.
Okay,
I can't get to my reaction button to hold up my hand.
okay, that's all right.
I just wanted to confirm something I heard you say, and I want to make sure I understood it.
Okay,
Okay, so there is a bill in the House that proposes to take any kind of gain we would get from investments for the retirement fund and take those gains and put them into the general fund.
that is House Bill 92.
House Bill 92. Okay,
Is the
I'm
one
going,
that's what we've been opposing. That's what it says in the bill.
okay, so I'm on my way to our Asheville Buncombe County meeting. So I
Yeah.
wanted to be sure that I got that before I got there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Thank you for just calling that out again, because that way when people hear it again, maybe it'll stick with them. Yes.
Gretchen, Julia will post this on the website. So encourage your members to watch this to get more information about House Bill 92.
Yes.
I will be certainly doing that. And I see a newsletter, emergency newsletter in our future.
Maybe so. Yeah.
So
Thank you, Cynthia.
okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
comment. Okay. All right. And Paula's hand is up. Yes, Paula?
Yeah, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I got in late, but
Oh,
is there any way we can, like, we have a general meeting for Alamance Burlington tomorrow. Can I make a copy? I'm not going to show your video. I just want your notes. Can I make a copy of the?
I'll send you my PowerPoint
Okay, thank you.
with the correct date. Okay.
Okay, if you'll send me your pad, I can't volunteer. I don't know that I'll be able to show. Well, I might because we're going to be using a computer tomorrow. But I at least want the note pages, you know, to print out the
Do you-
note pages so I can have talking points.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. You can do that. Do you need the whole thing? Pull out certain things, or you want the whole thing?
Whole thing. You don't have
Okay.
to take the time to pull. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'll be glad to come on. I can't come on Zoom tomorrow. I'm at a school recruiting. Never mind.
Okay. That's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I
Thank
can let
you.
it come.
Yeah. Linda could come.
We've got a speaker. We've got some other things that are going on. So, but I just want to hit I want to hit the big things that we're concerned about. So, but I need my talking points. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I may invite you back another time. How about that?
Okay. I just thought maybe that would help. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. Joe has asked that this go to everyone, but it will be available. Carol, won't it? It's going to be
Yes.
available.
Absolutely. If
Yes.
you'll send it to me, I'll send it to everyone on the Zoom today.
Right. If y'all saw anything else you want me to change on there, let me know. I will do that. Well, let me address one more thing today. And it has to do with supplements and colas. And I think, Linda, we've talked with folks at the state, we've talked with Sam Watts about this, but this has come up. I know Carol's gotten some answers. She's passed on questions, and Gretchen's gotten one she passed on to me. People they're doing taxes right now, and they are upset. They don't understand why they made less in 2024 than they did in 2023. Okay. They also made less than they did in 2022. It's because in 2022 and 2023, we got a supplement. We did not get anything extra in 2024. So yes, we did get less in 2024. So that's what it was about. So, even a supplement helps her. We're pushing for a COLA, but if things get bad, we'll take a supplement. We just want something. We need more money. Sharon, thank you for your comment. Okay, anybody else? I want to see a lot of you on May 6th, 2025. Okay, 10:30. If we're still around 2026, we might do this again. Okay, is that it, Carol? I think that's it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
Colleen.
Colleen.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you all for
Thank you,
joining.
Colleen. And before everybody exits stage left, so to speak, our Wednesday workshop for May will be on May the 14th. Of course,
Indeed.
that's another Wednesday. Our
Yeah.
presenter will be Nick Turkis, who is with the Arthritis Foundation, and he will be talking about a program they have called Walk with Ease. So we'll get you into the spring and summer walking and getting healthier as the summer goes along. It should be a good presentation. I've actually participated in this program myself before. So I hope to see many more faces at our next Wednesday workshop. And thank you for coming today. And thank you, Carol. And thank you, Colleen and
Carol,
Linda,
yes.
for all you do.
Well, thank you for offering this, Levita. It's important to our members. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
It's great.
Thanks.
Bye.